Camina. Hi, this is Bobby Sanabria for Jazz at Lincoln Center. You know, this humble little instrument is so important to the tradition that we call salsa today that people that play this instrument are extremely, extremely revered. It's known as the bongo. It was born in eastern Cuba in the Oriente section. When somebody tells you they're from Oriente Cuba, they're telling you literally they're from the part facing the Orient, the eastern part of the island. Places like Guantanamo, Santiago, etc. This instrument, its tradition goes way, way back. It's what we call un instrumento criollo. It means it's a Creole instrument. It was born on the island of Cuba, but inspired by African drumming. The word in and of itself, bongo, comes from the Efik people in the Calabar region in Africa. The word means drum, but it also signifies truth. So when a bongocero plays in a salsa orchestra, they have to speak the truth on the instrument. You'll notice that also I played this bell, which in Cuban music is known as cencerro. It's a large handheld bell. We call it in New York City campana de bongo, the bell of the bongo, or bongo bell. The drums in and of themselves are a pair. The small head is known as the macho. The large head is known as the hembra. Macho means male. Hembra is female, okay? From African tradition. And this instrument really became prominent in a style of Cuban music known as the son, el son, which is the folk song tradition of Eastern Cuba. You notice that I started playing this basic rhythm. Which is known as el martillo, el martillo, the hammer. It's a basic rhythm. It's a basic rhythm that's played on the bongo to accompany. But I also started riffing a little bit within the context of clave, which is very important because the bongocero has to have a complete knowledge of clave because they're always conversing within the structure of a salsa tune until they get to the montuno section, the vamp section, when they switch to this bell. Now, before the song came to Havana, it was just in rural Oriente, the eastern part. And then in 1898, when the Spanish-American War happened, the troops from eastern Cuba crossed that mountain range that separates the eastern and western parts of the island, like Cordillera, right there, that mountain range. And they finally bring the song to cosmopolitan Havana, where the rumba tradition, guaguancó, yambú, and rumba Colombia were very, very prominent and still are today. This drumming tradition using the conga drums, human voices, obviously, and the interaction between a man and woman dancing, except for the Colombia, where only men dance. And the first bongoceros in this new cosmopolitan age of the song, well, were rumberos, guys that play congas in this context, especially the quinto players, the guys that were the soloists. So they played very, very free, something like this. I'm going to start the clave direction in 3-2. In other words, no steady keeping time of a rhythm. They just play ad libitum according to the clave direction. But then this group, the Sexteto Habanero, the Sexteto, and then subsequently the Septeto Habanero, this group that became very famous for the song and their early recordings of song in the 1920s. Well, they had a bongocero, a bongo player, by the name of Agustin Manana. And he's the first person credited with playing this very basic timekeeping pattern that every well-versed bongocero knows. 1, 2, 3, 4. But with that also, he kept the tradition of riffing, of repicando, speaking within the context of the song and the clave, but using the martillo as a basic timekeeping device. For example, in 2-3 clave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.